Middle Tennessee's only primetime news. This is Fox 17 News at 9, your Code Red station.
I'm going to keep my gun low, and I'm looking, what we call it is slicing the pie.
Fox 17 News getting a first-hand look at what types of training would be necessary for Tennessee teachers and staff if they are allowed to carry guns in school.
It's in question because the state Senate passed a bill that would allow it to happen yesterday. Fox 17 News' Caitlin Miller now live at the state capitol after talking to a current school resource officer and a professional firearms instructor.
Yes, we spoke with the director of training at Royal Range, who also trained Metro Police for years, and he says the 40 hours of training that's stated on the bill is not nearly enough to train our teachers and faculty. We also spoke with a school resource officer who's been in the business for years, and he has very similar concerns.
To make us an accurate or good defender, I have to hold the pistol correctly. The higher I hold my hand, the more control I have of it.
Fox 17 News is learning from Director of Training at Royal Range and former Metro Police trainer Bob Allen what every teacher and staff must know who's carrying a firearm inside of a school.
That good grip, lined it up on that chest.
So he put me through some demos, like how to hold a pistol and aim correctly.
There you go.
Then Allen put me through room entry training, which he explains is critical in a school shooting situation.
I'm going to keep my gun low, and I'm looking, what we call it is slicing the pie. I'm cutting off little pieces of pie in the room. Each time I take a step, I see a little more. A little more, a little more, a little more. There you go, it's better. There you go, it's a lot.
These are just a few examples Allen emphasizes that requires a lot more than 40 hours of training, which is the minimum amount of training required for this bill that passed the Senate Tuesday.
There you go. But the vast majority of teachers don't have that mindset. So there's another whole 3 to 4 to 5 hours discussing mindset, like, what are you thinking when you're moving down the hall? And God forbid it's one of the kids they taught that comes in as a problem. Then there's a whole nother issue.
Fox 17 News also spoke with Travis Turney, a school resource officer at Cannon County Schools.
As far as arming every teacher and faculty member, absolutely not. I think that's probably overboard. But do I think that maybe, I'm just going to say 1 or 2. It depends on the size of the school, obviously. 1, 2, or 3 people that are adequately trained to have them help in situations, I don't have a problem with that.
Turney, who has more than 15 years of experience in law enforcement and more than 5 years in schools, says it could be fine under certain circumstances and if they are trained properly.
We reached out to Senator Paul Bailey, who sponsored this bill, and he says that we have law enforcement that says that 40 hours of training is enough for faculty and staff. He also says if the bill passes the House, then the faculty and staff will be working with school resource officers throughout this training. Reporting live from downtown, I'm Caitlin Miller, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
Thank you, Caitlin. And continuing coverage on the issue, nearly 24 states across the U.S. give people permission to carry weapons onto school property. They include these 4 states in the Southeast: Kentucky, Georgia, South Carolina, and Louisiana.
Now, a couple of other gun bills that state lawmakers were considering are no longer on the table. One of them would have opened the door to a civil lawsuit against a person or a government entity if they infringed on your right to bear arms. The House sponsor, State Representative Clay Doggett, withdrew that bill. The other measure would have allowed people with enhanced gun carry permits in Tennessee to go armed in buildings where weapons are prohibited. State Representative Jody Barrett of Dickson took his bill off notice as well. Both of these bills could be reintroduced, but it will likely be next year.
And continuing coverage on the topic, Tennessee Congressman Andy Ogles releasing a comment today on the controversial issue of guns in school. He said that he applauds the Tennessee Senate for taking steps to harden and secure our schools. This is the type of responsible and reasonable action that states all over the country should be taking. And we want to know what you think. Do you agree with a bill to allow teachers and staff to be armed in school? A lot of people interested in this subject. 1,142 people weighing in. 67.7% say yes, they agree with the bill to allow teachers and staff to be armed in schools. 32.3% say no. This poll is live right now. You can cast your vote by scanning the QR code there on your screen. It will take you to our X page where you can weigh in, and we'll show you updated poll results here a little later in the newscast.
Covering the Capitol, the state Senate approves a bill making it illegal for anyone other than a parent or guardian to take a minor across state lines for an abortion, but not without a significant change just before the final vote. Tennessee is one of 14 states where abortion is illegal with rare exception. And now a bill to make it more difficult for minors to get an abortion in another state is one step closer to becoming law.
Well, what this bill does, it seeks to protect parents, to give them their God-given rights and our state-given rights to protect their minors from obtaining an abortion.
Senator Paul Rose's bill would have made it a Class C felony, but an amendment offered just before the third and final Senate vote reduces the punishment.
Amendment 1 changes the offense of abortion trafficking to a Class C felony to a Class A misdemeanor. It clarifies that the offense does not apply when a person has obtained written consent from the parent or guardian.
Democrats, who are greatly outnumbered, offered two other amendments. One would specify birth control and fertility treatments are not considered abortions. The other questions what constitutes recruiting a minor to have an abortion, which is the language used in the bill.
The communications themselves are potentially criminal actions here.
Both of those amendments failed over Democrats' objections.
You should be able to go into other states freely in our country without being hampered by laws that are preventing you from exercising your free will.
That set up the final vote.
Mr. Clerk, take the vote.
Ayes 26, 3 nays.
The version of the bill that passed by the House still has the punishment as a Class C felony, so this measure is very likely headed to a conference committee.
Well, now it's been almost 3 weeks since workers discovered the body of missing Missouri college student Riley Strain in the Cumberland River. His family is still searching for answers as to what exactly happened. Fox 17 News' Kelly Avellino tells us that his family believes that they have found a significant lead, a brand new witness who is potentially the last known person to ever speak with Riley.
Weeks ago, I interviewed a homeless man who says he was on the river embankment below when he heard Riley stumble into a fence right about here, just before the James Robertson Parkway Bridge, where he was last seen. Now, that same man reported there was another passerby closer to the street who called out that Riley was okay, just drunk. Now, I can tell you, Riley's family has been trying to track down this other man who saw him right here for about a month, and they say they finally have.
A family friend here in Nashville says she and Riley's family on speakerphone met with this other homeless man on Monday. They say a detective also came out to speak with this man. She says the man said that Riley continued to walk beyond the bridge, passing the Birch Building on the left.
He did see Riley, and he did see him walk all the way down the sidewalk to the corner as far as he could see.
Now, it's been said that Riley potentially fell right underneath the bridge, a steep and rocky fall, and ended up in the water. It's where his bank card was found on the riverbank, and there's also surveillance video from the Birch Building that doesn't appear to show Riley walk by.
But if it's true that Riley kept walking beyond the bridge and didn't fall somehow into the river under it, then that raises more questions as to what happened and how he got into the water.
Until we have the exact information, then we're going to continue to think maybe he went outside the bridge, maybe he got into a car. Like, until we have the facts, we can only assume that he kept going, or we don't know that he fell.
Riley's family tells me they haven't ruled out foul play since Riley was found without his pants, a belt, shoes, or his wallet. And according to the preliminary autopsy, there was no visible trauma to his body that would potentially indicate someone having an extensive fall.
Well, Riley's family continuing to wait for the official autopsy results to be released. Metro Police said the homeless man that they spoke to this past Monday was referencing news stories, and the other man who said he heard Riley fall said perhaps did not hear Riley fall at all, even though he had told the family multiple times that he had over the course of a month. Big changes here since yesterday evening around this time. The good news is it's in our favor. Severe weather threat is no more for this evening, but we do continue to monitor the potential for showers and a few thunderstorms that will bring in some gusty winds and the potential for some heavy rain a little later tonight. And as we get into tomorrow, the potential for a stray strong thunderstorm. But let's first talk about this heavy rain and gusty wind as we head through the evening hours. As we were going through the morning and mid-afternoon, we were watching this big line of showers and storms that produced, unfortunately, severe weather through portions of Louisiana and New Orleans with flash flooding and tornadoes. A lot of this system here robbed us of any severe threat that we expected to see today, this afternoon and into the evening hours. So thankfully for us, we are now looking at a quiet night as far as severe weather goes. But over the next couple of hours, I do expect some showers start to move in here. We're starting to see the beginnings of it here in northern Mississippi. So as we go through the next couple of hours, we will start to likely see more showers blossom throughout portions of Mississippi and into parts of Tennessee. And that could bring us some gusty winds and some rain, heavy rain through the overnight. But thankfully, severe weather won't be on the table as we go through the overnight hours. Things are pretty quiet still this evening. I would expect showers to start to pick up right around midnight or so, and they'll be around for the morning commute as well. This is 7 a.m. through 9 a.m. and you can see the potential for some showers and a few thunderstorms with temperatures holding in those 60s. Area wide, we'll be looking at those lows to stay pretty mild through the overnight in the mid to upper 50s to around 60 degrees. We'll take a look at tomorrow's storm threat, and when the cold front finally pushes through, walking you through it hour by hour in your Fox 17 Code Red forecast. Scott.
Katie, thank you. Also had some problems with FAFSA, the issues plaguing the federal government's website that college students have to use to apply for financial aid.
Which firm should I choose to represent me and my family? At Morgan & Morgan, we will hold your hand every step of the way. All firms are not the same. The choice is easy. Morgan & Morgan.
Education news: would-be college students looking to get financial aid have been left in the lurch this year because the government's website used to apply has been riddled with problems.
Well, now Congress wants to know what went wrong. House lawmakers even held a hearing today to examine the impact of the delays on students, families, and schools. Fox News' Mike Emanuel has the details.
The botched rollout of the Department of Education's new FAFSA application system, the online form students use to apply for financial aid, gets scrutinized on Capitol Hill. Lawmakers getting a first-hand account of how ongoing issues are impacting students, families, and colleges.
January 30th, 2024. That day will live in the collective trauma of most financial aid offices across the country.
Typically, the online form goes live in October, but this year it wasn't available until January. But it was plagued by errors and glitches. This resulted in a decline in FAFSA applications. According to the National College Attainment Network, so far only 27% of high school seniors have completed the form. And those who have completed may need to make corrections.
The department estimates that 20% of the files that schools have are riddled with errors.
But it's not just the Department of Education facing scrutiny. Ahead of Wednesday's hearing, Senate Democrats sent a letter to General Dynamics, the federal contractor behind the new FAFSA application. Senators Elizabeth Warren and Ron Wyden accusing the company of failing to keep its promise of improving the system. Warren and Wyden writing, quote, "Indeed, it now appears that your efforts to date have been a near total failure and that the FAFSA problems caused by this failure are harming millions of students and hundreds of colleges." General Dynamics has until April 23rd to respond to questions in the letter, including how much money they've received from the federal government. In Washington, Mike Emanuel, Fox News.
Through the overnight tonight, we'll still be looking at showers and likely some thunderstorms around the area. But the good news is severe weather does not appear to be a problem for us for the overnight. We will continue though to watch for some pockets of heavy rain, maybe some gusts of wind up to 40 miles per hour. In fact, some of the wind gusts here over the next several hours show anywhere in Nashville in the upper 20s to around 30, but especially out towards the plateau, we could find them as high as about 40 miles per hour. And we'll continue to see some gusts as we head through tomorrow as well. But right now, our code red weather threat has ended as, again, a lot of this rain that we were expecting yesterday has just not happened due to that system to our south, which we'll talk more about here in just a minute. We go through the overnight and you can see that by about 2-3 a.m. we've got these pockets of rain that are setting up. Gusts of wind will be possible within these heavier pockets, and again could pick up a quick burst of rain here or there. I'm not expecting widespread flooding now, but a couple of heavy pockets could lead to some spot flooding here or there. But generally, I think we're going to be a-okay as we head through tomorrow morning. Here's 8 o'clock. Pretty messy for the morning commute, and that'll continue as we head into the afternoon hours. And we get into the later part of the morning and more so into the early afternoon, we'll be watching a few of these thunderstorms here. If we can get enough energy going, it's possible we could see a stray strong thunderstorm along an east to 65 with damaging wind as the primary threat. But that's a big if we can get enough energy going after what we had in the morning. To reignite the chance for strong thunderstorms into the afternoon. That's still kind of questionable at this point, but it's something we'll want to keep our eye on as we go through tomorrow morning. Complex system for today. These types of systems, they humble meteorologists. Yesterday, we were expecting the potential for severe weather. This system here really just robbed us of not only the chance of severe weather, but a lot of our rain that we were expecting this evening too. So for now, things remain pretty quiet, but as this energy moves closer to us, I expect this rain to wrap around and move into much of the area, and that could lead us to some showers for tomorrow morning through the afternoon. It won't be raining all day, but it will be around off and on throughout the afternoon hours here. Here's right now the severe weather threat for tomorrow. A stray strong thunderstorm to our north and to our east. We take you through the remainder of the afternoon on Thursday. Here's 2 p.m. Some scattered showers again will be possible. That line will be what we're watching for throughout the afternoon hours for a stray strong thunderstorm with wind gusts in excess of 60 miles per hour. Tornado threat remains pretty low for tomorrow, if not zero. Then we get into tomorrow night, and you can see those showers start to clear out. The good news, we're shaping up for a nice weekend. We'll talk more about that coming up in your Fox 17 Code Red forecast.
A short delay in the impeachment articles for Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas. I'm Christine Frizzell on Capitol Hill, where he was still on the hot seat today.
Hey there, I'm Jennifer Waddell from Fox 17 News this morning. I know that you know this, but the tax deadline is creeping up on us quickly. But get this, a lot of people are turning to social media for last-minute filing tips. Why the
You'll save even more with double fuel points and free delivery. Discover more ways to save big every day. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Covering the Capitol, House leaders were supposed to give the U.S. Senate 2 articles of impeachment against Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas today.
But they hit pause after Senate Republicans asked for more time to make their case. This is Mayorkas spent the day being grilled by lawmakers.
Fox 17 News' Christine Frizzell has the story, and you can let us know what you think by scanning the QR code that will appear on your screen.
Working to better secure the border comes with a massive price tag. The head of the Department of Homeland Security giving lawmakers a partial list of what that entails.
More immigration and customs enforcement personnel, more detention capacity, more funds for alternatives to detention, more transportation resources.
Alejandro Mayorkas telling the House Appropriations Homeland Security Subcommittee more than 630,000 people have been removed from the country in the last 11 months, as GOP lawmakers point out that more than 2 million others have been allowed to stay.
And your default policy seems to be to just let them in.
San Diego County has seen the numbers of migrants more than double in just 2 years, with local leaders warning it's putting their residents at risk.
I don't think it's out of the question to believe that a Hamas-style attack that happened October 7th could happen to us again, that another 9/11 style attack or something we've never even seen before.
Other critics argue President Biden has the power to use executive action to shut down the border if the numbers get too high.
There's no guarantee that I have that power all by myself without legislation. And someone suggested I should just go ahead and try it. And if I get shut down by the court, I get shut down by the court.
One major complaint has been about sanctuary laws in places like California and New York, which not only require them to provide sanctuary for migrants, but prohibit local law enforcement from communicating with ICE, even about dangerous criminals in custody. It seems that Secretary Mayorkas may be considering changes to that aspect of the law.
I believe that when an individual poses a threat to public safety or national security, a local or state jurisdiction should cooperate with Immigration and Customs Enforcement for the swift detention and removal of that individual.
A rare point of agreement amid a firestorm of criticism of the Biden administration's border policies. In Washington, I'm Christine Frizzell.
A rental scheme hitting Middle Tennessee. What part of town is under attack and where those criminals seem to be targeted?
Or go online to uspest.com and your bugs will be gone before you know it.
US Pest. This Fox 17 newscast is sponsored by B.F. Myers Furniture.
They can be anywhere, including across the globe, doing this.
In Operation Crime and Justice tonight, Franklin police sound the alarm over a spike in bogus rental listings that you can find on Facebook Marketplace. Police say it's leaving some people poised to move in with nowhere to go. Fox 17 News' Kylie Walker shows us some of the red flags to watch for.
Imagine you pull up to the place that you're about to move into, but when you get to the front door to grab your keys and get all settled in, you're locked out with nowhere to go. Well, that's what's happened to several families here in Franklin.
I would start with the price and make sure that it lines up with other properties in the area.
Pointing out what may look fishy, Detective Dan Ogilvie with the Franklin Police Department sat down with us to sift through online rental ads through Facebook Marketplace.
The postings usually are very convincing. They look really good. They go on other websites and they get images of the interior of the home. They have descriptions, dimensions, prices.
He says the ad poster will usually pose as the property owner or a realtor.
They make it appear that they are the ones taking the pictures. They're the ones in control. They're the ones that have the authority to lease this property out.
Detective Ogilvie says the imposter may even speak with the victim for months on end, requesting money for what would be an application fee or security deposit. They may do this through Cash App or Venmo and only communicate via text.
Also, I would look at the seller and check out when that account was established, because if it's a scam, then they probably weren't around for very long.
Because many times the renter won't even know until it's too late, left stranded with a U-Haul and a truckload of furniture.
It's also an exciting day when you're getting to move into a new home, whether you're buying or renting. And so to get there and find out that you don't have that property, it becomes really big.
To avoid these situations, local realtor Craig Edwards suggests contacting a real estate expert in that area who can further do digging and provide you with a guided virtual tour.
The fact that it's picking up a little bit is not terribly surprising because it's a scam where they can easily get some money pretty quickly, actually.
Edwards also recommends looking at Google to make sure the house or apartment on Street View matches what you see online. Now, if you believe you've fallen victim to this, you are urged to call your local jurisdiction to file a police report, or you could do so online at ic3.gov. We'll also have this information on our website, fox17.com. For now, reporting in Franklin, Kylie Walker, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
Still expecting some rain to develop for us as we head through the overnight. It's been pretty quiet up until this point, but as we head into the overnight hours, some moderate to heavy pockets of rain will be around, along with a few gusts of wind that could be in excess of 30, maybe 40 miles per hour here. But radar right now is fairly quiet. We're starting to see some makings here in parts of Mississippi, and then we've got more rain off to our west. So again, we'll expect more of those showers as we head out the door for tomorrow morning. Temperatures in Nashville will be right around 60 or so, as well as Clarksville. Can't rule out a few rumbles of thunder for the morning hours, though. Severe weather will not be a problem for us on Thursday. We look ahead to the weekend. looking much better. In fact, temperatures climbing into the upper 70s, close to 80 degrees. In fact, low 80s expected for Sunday. A nice looking weekend here, very warm for us with plenty of sunshine. So we have one more rainy day to get through on Thursday, and we will see things turn around as we head towards the weekend. We'll talk more about some of these wind gusts we could see through the overnight. That coming up. Megan.
Thanks, Katie. Well, turkey hunting season opening this weekend, and last year more than 25,000 hunters bagged a bird. Weather, Brett says it'll be great. Fox 17 meteorologist Brett Luna has more on a couple of things that hunters maybe need to keep in mind.
Well, that's a sound I know some of y'all are anxiously waiting to hear.
To be able to go out there and hear a wild turkey on the roost, it'll just blow your mind. And if you can experience that and share it with somebody, it makes it even better.
And you don't have to wait much longer. Tennessee spring turkey season opens up on Saturday.
It's exciting because you are communicating with that turkey. That turkey wants you to come to him, but you are trying to reverse nature and call him into you. And so it's an exciting time to be in the woods.
There's a few things you need to be mindful of, though. The season limit on wild turkey is 2 bearded birds. Only one of those can be a jake. A jake is a bird with less than a 6-inch beard and less than a 1/2-inch spur. An adult gobbler will have a longer beard than 6 inches, or a spur a 1/2 inch or longer. He's also going to have a tail fan where all the feathers are the same length all the way around, so it makes a perfect oval.
For those who have never turkey hunted, it is impressive to see a full adult male gobbler come in at full strut, and whether you've got a decoy or he's just sneaking through the woods looking for you, it's impressive. And to have one gobble at you within 20 yards, if you've never experienced it, it is something to witness.
The spring turkey season runs until May 26th. For a full list of regulations, you can check out the Tennessee Wildlife website. We'll put a link to that for you on our Fox 17 website. Reporting in Nashville, Brett Luna, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
Just ahead, getting to know his quarterback. We'll tell you what the Titans' new head coach learned.
Get the goodness of Hardee's homestyle breakfast burritos, available in 3 varieties. Hardee's, goodness in the making.
This Fox 17 newscast is sponsored by Eurostone.
In sports, the Titans kicking off their off-season program this week, a week earlier than the rest of the league because they've got a first-year head coach.
Well, Brian Callahan quickly learning everything that he can about his players, including his young quarterback. Fox 17 Sports Director Jill Jelnick has more on the offense.
Just 2 days into the Titans' offseason program, and head coach Brian Callahan is already starting to see his team come together. Players reported to the facility on Monday, and even though it is a voluntary offseason program, Callahan says he's been pleased with the attendance so far and says this week is crucial for him to get to know his players, and that includes his starting quarterback, Will Levis. Levis coming off an impressive rookie year where he had 8 touchdowns in just 9 games in 2023. Coach Callahan saying that even though they're not on the field every day performing, it's been fun to see how Levis's mind works, how he works mentally, and also his dedication to improving his skill set.
Just from what I've seen so far, and again, I'm still learning Will every day that goes on. But he's got an intensity and an intent to every time he walks in the building. I think you see that in his play. When you watch him play, you see that intensity, that fire that he's got. That's not manufactured. That's how he is.
Now that we're kind of into the football, you really see his brain working and his process through it. And he asks great questions. You know, it's only been 2 days and he comes back with the questions in the morning. So he'll come in and, hey, what was this? What were we saying this? Why did this mean? And so that's been really cool just to see kind of now that we're getting into the football part, just mentally and in the classroom, how kind of serious he takes it and how much it means to him.
Titans use free agency to go out and get Levis a new offensive weapon, signing former Jaguars receiver Calvin Ridley to a 4-year deal worth $92 million. Ridley, on top of DeAndre Hopkins, now gives Levis a couple more weapons to throw to.
It's hard to probably understate the help that provides, where you have 2 really veteran players that have experience in the NFL. They've done it, and for lack of a better term, and to have experienced players around a young quarterback certainly helps because they're not necessarily always learning the same lessons together.
As far as the Titans playbook goes, Coach Callahan says that it's, quote, a living document. It's changing day by day as the staff continues to add to it. And he says they want to add everything as much as they can so then they can see what the team is best at. Reporting from the Titans practice facility, Jill Jolnick, Fox 17 Sports, your Code Red station.
Proud of the process that we believed in and the confidence we had in trusting what we do. And we don't always get rewarded for it, but we did tonight.
Obviously, to make playoffs is a huge accomplishment. I think we're proud as a group. Guys worked hard for that.
Coming up, more on the potential for a few wind gusts as we head through the overnight and how it's looking as we head into early next week. It's in your Fox 17 Code Red forecast.
And crying foul why Covenant school families in Nashville have filed an ethics complaint against a sitting state senator.
The future of a... You get Hughes and Coleman and get it done. Call 800-800-4600.
This Fox 17 newscast is sponsored by Electronic Express. We make it happen.
Tonight, Covenant school families in town suing to keep anyone from seeing the school shooter's journals have now filed an ethics complaint against a state lawmaker. They're targeting Senator Todd Gardenhire of Chattanooga. He's among those suing to make these records public. He's also sponsoring a bill in the legislature that would keep third parties like the parents from having standing to file a lawsuit in a public records case like this. Arguments in the original suit over those writings will be heard next week.
Well, new tonight, a group of House Republicans just tanked a potential extension to the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act. Supporters say it's crucial for national security, but as Fox 17 News' Matt Gulka tells us, privacy advocates and the former president say this spying act needs to go.
We want delays, obviously.
Kill FISA was the order that came from former President Donald Trump from his Truth Social account Wednesday, as a fierce debate in Congress rages on with how to proceed with Section 702.
President Trump used the intel from this program to kill terrorists, and we have to kill the abuses so that we can do both of those things and continue, and that's what this bill does.
Trump charged that FISA was used and abused to spy on his campaign, although it was a different section. 702 of FISA is meant to be used as a tool to collect intel on foreigners overseas, but loopholes allow agencies like the FBI to search the data for info on Americans, a major red flag for privacy advocates.
They wind up collecting literally billions of communications, both from bad actors, but also completely innocent people, including an awful lot of Americans.
There's a lot of data that companies are collecting on gun owners, and the federal government is able to go out and buy. They don't need a warrant to look at that data currently. And that's totally unacceptable.
The debate has paired up some strange bipartisan bedfellows in Congress. Republican hardliners Andy Biggs and Matt Gaetz put out a joint statement with progressive Democrats Jerry Nadler and Pramila Jayapal earlier this year, calling for a vote on requiring warrants to use 702. House Speaker Mike Johnson is trying to assure his members and maybe the former president that the tool is a vital part of national security and that the House can pass reforms to end abuses of power.
These reforms would actually kill the abuses that allowed President Trump's campaign to be spied on.
FISA is set to expire on April 19th, and Speaker Johnson warned his members that if the House did nothing, the Senate would likely look to pass an extension with no reforms. For the National Desk in Washington, I'm Matt Gulka.
All right, let's talk about the weather that we didn't get.
Yeah, we dodged that one, didn't we?
We really did. And, you know, this is one of those systems that models were kind of all over the place. It humbles meteorologists, but thankful that we didn't end up with those storms. What happened is these thunderstorms that we had throughout the morning hours really robbed us of any energy needed for those severe thunderstorms to form this afternoon and into this evening. And it is still robbing us of rain that we were expecting this evening here as well. It unfortunately did quite a bit of damage, though, for folks in Louisiana, in particular the New Orleans area, where they were under flash flood emergencies and had tornado warnings earlier this afternoon. So that's what's left of it here. We're quiet at the moment, but we're starting to see more of these showers and thunderstorms pick up a little bit here in Mississippi. I expect more of this to fill in as we head through the overnight. This is going to wrap around and bring us some rain as we head through tomorrow morning, but thankfully will not be severe. I talk about this system to the south robbing us of moisture. it really did dump quite a bit of rain for folks in southern portions of Louisiana, central and southern portions of Louisiana, even into Mississippi, Alabama. And we're looking at rainfall totals anywhere between 6, 7, 8 inches. And so this is where all of that energy was today. And you notice we really haven't picked up anything because of all of this activity that was in the deep south this morning. Now, as we go through the overnight, we will still have the potential for a few of these wind gusts. As we walk you through the evening hours here, you can see that they're going to be in pockets for the most part. Gusts 25 to 30, 35 miles per hour will be pretty common area wide. Notice though, in Bowling Green, this is at 2 a.m. for example, these little pockets of gusts could be as high as about 35 to 40 miles per hour. That'll be as we head through the overnight. This is 7 a.m. Still looking at a few gusts that'll be around, and then a few more that'll be possible as the front finally pushes through, which won't be until the later part of the day. You can see that these wind arrows start to shift more to the north and to the west, and that'll be when we start to see the cold front come through the area. So again, pockets of wind and pockets of heavy rain. I don't expect widespread issues as we go through the overnight and into tomorrow. Now, we will have the potential for, again, these pockets of rain here in town and really everywhere. So just keep that in mind for your morning commute. Heavy rain will be possible as we go through the morning hours here. And this is a look at our rain probabilities as we go through the morning hours. This is for Nashville. So again, showers picking up as we head through the overnight, then become scattered as we head through the morning and the middle of the afternoon. I would say that we are finally starting to dry out by tomorrow evening, and looking at breezy conditions to remain through Friday. Much better though as we head towards the weekend. Highs will be in the low 80s, which look to be something we will continue to see as we go through the beginning of next week.
A record 4.7 billion people are expected to travel this summer. This as Airbus and Boeing are experiencing production issues and not churning out as many aircraft as they expected. How airlines are filling in the gap, that's still ahead.
It is quite.
This Fox 17 newscast is sponsored by Eurostone.
Right now, many wealthy Americans are getting additional passports as a way to protect themselves against financial risks. The law firm Henley & Partners claims that well-off American families are increasingly applying for second, in some cases third or fourth citizenships and national residences just in case they need to flee their home country in case of trouble. The additional passports are being obtained as some Americans worry about stock market volatility and uncertainty.
In consumer news tonight, Krispy Kreme teaming up with a popular candy bar for a new sweet treat. Just what we need here. Krispy Kreme and Kit Kat joining forces to create their brand new Take a Bite, Take a Break donut collection. The limited time treat features 3 donuts packed with creamy chocolate and crispy wafers. Customers will be able to order the new items through the store via pickup or delivery by the Krispy Kreme app. Didn't know they could do that. Krispy Kreme lovers can also find a limited time Krispy Kreme 6-pack featuring the salted caramel brownie in select grocery stores. There's your commercial tonight for Krispy Kreme.
I know.
Right?
What would you
How'd I
guys
do? Did I
estimate?
pitch it well?
Yeah.
What do you think, 1,000 calories apiece?
I don't know.
They look
Staying
good.
far away from it. Yeah, I know. They look good, but
They look so good.
stay far away from it, I think. Yeah.
All righty, straight ahead. What you think about a bill being considered by state lawmakers that would allow teachers in Tennessee to carry guns in school.
Light, out of nowhere, I just got rear-ended. I reached out to Morgan & Morgan directly from the scene. Morgan & Morgan got my initial offer 10x'd. It is so easy.
Well, we always want to know what you think, and earlier in the broadcast we told you about our nightly expo. Well, the question is, do you agree with a bill here in Tennessee that lawmakers are considering to allow teachers and staff to be armed in schools? Over 1,200 people have weighed in, so great interest. 68% say yes and 32% say no. We thank all those who voted, and we'll have another update on these numbers if you'd like to weigh in tonight during our 10 o'clock newscast.
A record 4.7 billion people are expected to travel this summer. This as Airbus and Boeing are experiencing production issues and not churning out as many aircraft as they expected. How airlines are filling in the gap, that's still ahead.
It is quite an inspiring story. I'm Liz Bonus. Meet a young woman who is changing her path for breast cancer risk. It is just ahead.
This is Fox 17 News at 10, your Code Red station.
To make us an accurate or good defender, I have to hold the pistol correctly.
Fox 17 News getting a first-hand look at what type of training would be necessary for Tennessee teachers and staff if they are allowed to carry guns in schools. The Senate passed this plan yesterday.
Fox 17 News' Caitlin Miller right now live outside the state capitol after getting reaction to this proposal from a school resource officer as well as a professional firearms trainer.
Yes, we spoke with the director of training at Royal Range, who also trained Metro Police for years, and he says the 40 hours of training, as stated on the bill, is not nearly enough to train these faculty and staff. Now, this director of training that we spoke with today is named Bob Allen, and he told us what every teacher and staff member must know who's carrying a firearm inside of a school. So he put me through some demos, like how to hold a pistol and aim correctly. Then Allen showed me room entry training, which he says is critical in a school shooting situation. These are just a few examples Allen emphasizes that require a lot more than 40 hours of training.
So in law enforcement, we always had to work on gun retention. Like if you try to get it, how do I defend it? What are the tools I use to make you stop trying to get my gun? So there's a whole nother problem. No, I don't see nothing. So then I could move down the hall.
40 hours of training is the minimum amount of training required for this bill that passed the Senate on Tuesday. Now, we reached out to Senator Paul Bailey, who's a sponsor of this bill, and he says that law enforcement has told him that 40 hours is adequate training for both teachers and staff. And he says if this bill does pass the House, then these staff and faculty that want to carry a firearm in school will do the training with their school resource officers. Reporting live from downtown, I'm Caitlin Miller, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
Caitlin, thank you. Earlier in our newscast, we told you about our X poll. Tonight, the question is whether you agree with the bill lawmakers are considering to allow teachers and staff to be armed in schools. The number is up to 1,226 now, but the percentage is staying the same. 68% say yes, 32% say no. Our thanks to all who took a moment to cast a vote.
Now to Operation Crime and Justice, an alarming trend in the city of Franklin, according to local police who are seeing an uptick in rental schemes, leaving some people stranded without a home and out thousands of dollars.
I would start with the price and make sure that it lines up with other properties.
Detective Dan Ogilvie is with the Franklin Police Department, and he says more and more people are falling victim to fraudulent rental property listings, most of which are on Facebook Marketplace, where an imposter will upload convincing photos or ads online of apartments or townhomes for rent, posing as a property owner or even a realtor. They then ask for the money up front for what would be a security deposit or an application fee.
They make it appear that they are the ones taking the pictures. They're the ones in control. They're the ones that have the authority to lease this property out, when in reality, they might not have never stepped foot in that neighborhood, let alone Tennessee.
Well, Detective Ogilvie says many people don't know it's a scheme until the moment that they go to move in. To avoid this, he suggests looking out for sellers who only communicate through text or email and ask for advance payments through Venmo or Cash App.
Well, let's talk about the wicked weather. We are no longer in code red, which means we don't have to worry about severe weather overnight. The system that we were being threatened by mostly missed us, but it did tear through the deep south earlier today. We've got the video evidence. This is what it looked like in Slidell, Louisiana. Trees crushing through houses along this street really hit hard. The cleanup and recovery efforts began just as soon as the storms moved out. What a mess. Meantime, people in Yazoo County, Mississippi had to evacuate today when the severe weather caused a local levee to start leaking, and you see the result flooding across that area. Katie, we really did dodge a bullet.
Yeah, we did this afternoon. And the good news is for us, the severe weather threat is no more for tonight. But we will continue to see at least the potential for a few showers and thunderstorms mainly after midnight tonight. Could lead to some spot flooding if we get a heavy enough downpour and then some gusty winds. Maybe looking at a straight thunderstorm for tomorrow that could be on the strong side. But generally, at least for tonight, our severe weather threat is over. This is what's left of the big system here in the deep south that continues to march east. We're kind of in a lull of activity at the moment, but I'm starting to see a few more of these showers pop up in parts of Mississippi. And then, of course, all of this activity off to our west, that will be moving in as we head through the overnight tonight. Closer to home, you can see that, again, we're mainly clear for this evening. A couple showers will be possible, but I would say we're probably quiet through at least 2 a.m. As we get into tomorrow morning, some scattered rain will be around, a few rumbles of thunder, temperatures in those low 60s as we head through the morning hours here. Overnight lows hovering around 58 here in Nashville, with 59 in Murfreesboro and closer to 60 out towards Cookeville. Coming up, we'll walk you through the timing for some showers and storms for tomorrow, and more on this straight strong thunderstorm for tomorrow as well. That in your Fox 17 Code Red forecast.
A record of 4.7 billion people are expected to travel this summer. This as Airbus and Boeing are experiencing production issues and not churning out as many aircraft as they expected. How airlines are filling in the gap, that's still ahead.
Hey there, I'm Jennifer Waddell from Fox 17 News this morning. I know that you know this, but the tax deadline is creeping up on us quickly. But get this, a lot of people are turning to social media for last-minute filing tips. Why the IRS says, hey, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station. Alerts, empowers, protects.
This Fox 17 newscast is sponsored by Tennessee Home Buyers.
Tonight, airlines across the globe are facing turbulence ahead of summer travel season, where demand is expected to hit a record high.
And as Fox News' Kelly Saberi explains, that's especially true when major plane suppliers like Boeing and Airbus are experiencing production shortages.
That Boeing whistleblower says that he was working on the 787 team when he noticed that the company was taking shortcuts in order to produce that jet. That's when he was moved to work on the 777 model, where he says he saw the same quality issues in the production, at which point his lawyers say he was threatened with job termination and physical violence. Boeing's first quarter deliveries fell to their lowest since 2021, while European rival Airbus rose year over year. Boeing produced just 29 aircraft in March, just 2 more than in February and January, for a grand total of 83 jets in the first quarter. The majority of those are 737 MAXs. This while Airbus turned over 63 aircraft in March alone. Keep in mind, the FAA has set a limit on how many jets Boeing can produce each month. Boeing CFO Brian West defending their slow pace, saying, quote, "We're deliberately going slow to get this right. We are the ones who make the decision to constrain rates on the 737 program below 38 per month until we feel like we're ready." Since Boeing production has scaled down, U.S. carriers will receive 32% fewer aircraft than they planned for a year ago. Estimates show some 200 million more people will travel this summer than they did back in 2019. Some airlines are turning to leasing. These lease rates for the new Airbus A320-200neo and Boeing 737-8 MAX aircrafts have hit $400,000 per month. That's the highest rate since mid-2008 per Cerium Ascent Consultancy. Some airlines are now paying more to fly older jets that need some TLC. That includes United, Delta, and American, who spent about 40% more on repairs last year from 2019. Both the engineer who is part of this case and Boeing CEO are expected to testify next week. In Chicago, Kelly Saberi, Fox Business.
Strong comments from President Biden, what he is saying about Israel's handling of its ongoing war with Hamas.
RAV4 for $299 a month with 2 years no-cost maintenance.
Toyota, let's go places.
This Fox 17 This Morning newscast is sponsored by Zander Insurance.
An American car company takes another shot at self-driving cars. General Motors is set to relaunch its robo-taxi vehicle, Cruise, this time with a human driver inside. The automobile car maker suspended its driverless fleet in October after an accident with a pedestrian. Although the company did not give details on the time for the relaunch, General Motors says they'll start deploying the cars in Phoenix. And Buick unveils its new sports Enclave SUV featuring new technology and designs. The company says the redesigned version of its Enclave Sport utility vehicle will feature a 30-inch diagonal ultra-wide display, plus a hands-free Super Cruise driver assistant system. The company says it will start building and taking orders for the revamped 2025 Enclave over the summer. Not many are loving it. McDonald's new $25 deal sparks controversy among customers who say it's a huge surge in the price for the fast food restaurant. This new deal comes on the heels of California's new increased minimum wage for fast food workers, hiking pay from $16 to $20 an hour. A recent study by Finance Buzz found that McDonald's prices have increased 100% since 2014. That's business in New York. I'm Lydia Hu.
Continuing coverage on the conflict in the Middle East, President Biden criticizing the Israeli Prime Minister's handling of the war with Hamas, calling it a mistake.
As Fox News' Trey Yangst reports, Mr. Biden calling on Benjamin Netanyahu now to try to broker a ceasefire.
While disagreements on a path forward for the war in Gaza remain, President Biden spoke Wednesday about his demands for Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu.
The fact of the matter is that Bibi and I had a long discussion. He agreed to do several things that related to, number one, getting more aid, both food and medicine, into Gaza, and reducing significantly the civilian casualties.
In his first remarks since calling Netanyahu's plans to enter the Gazan city of Rafah a mistake, Biden also insisted that Hamas accept an American proposal put forward during ceasefire talks in Cairo that could pause the war and see up to 40 hostages released. Efforts to broker a ceasefire are ongoing this week in Egypt, with teams from Israel, Hamas, and the United States present, though reports indicate continued disagreements on the framework of a deal. Despite the ongoing talks, Israel is continuing their air campaign against Gaza, killing 6 relatives of Hamas leader Ismail Haniyeh today in a strike. While aid to the enclave has ramped up in recent days, with more than 1,000 trucks entering Gaza this week, distribution of supplies is still a key issue, leading to hunger among the civilian population.
I lost my children, I lost myself. How can this be Eid for me? As you can see, we're hungry. No food or drink. What has become of our lives?
The developments in Gaza come as Israel remains on high alert, with Iranian officials once again threatening the Jewish state amid concerns there could be Iranian retaliation following strikes earlier this month that killed 2 top Iranian generals in Syria. In Tel Aviv, Trey Yangst, Fox News.
In health news, Consumer Reports has launched a petition drive to get schools across the country to take Lunchables right off of the menu. The advocacy group says that these food kits contain relatively high levels of both lead and sodium. Lunchables are approved by the USDA. They're part of the National School Lunch Program, which serves nearly 30 million children. Consumer Reports says the amounts of the chemicals they contain could lead to serious health problems over time.
Mentioned earlier that our severe weather threat is over, so that is good news. But just recapping what we can expect as we head mainly after midnight tonight, the potential for some spot flooding. That again is going to be pretty isolated. Some heavy rain and gusty winds though will be possible for us as well. Winds could gust as high as 40 miles per hour. This is the latest data though from our future track, and I'll say over the past couple of hours it has continued to come down a little bit, so that's good news to see as well. Still, I think we're looking at some gusts close to 30 out toward the plateau, especially is where we could find a few of those gusts closer to 40 miles per hour, and they will come in these larger pockets of rain. And notice the time here, we're after midnight, around 3 a.m. So this will come through as you're sleeping. Again, severe weather is not going to be a problem anymore, but we'll have some of those gusts of wind along with some pockets of rain that'll continue. In fact, increase a little bit in coverage as we head closer to morning. This is 8 a.m., so maybe a little wet for your morning commute. Then we get into the afternoon. These storms here, as we get closer to the afternoon hours, will need to be monitored. These have a very small chance at becoming strong, possibly with some wind gusts in excess of 60 miles per hour, maybe some small hail as well. So this is something we'll need to watch as we head through the afternoon hours. It's been a very complex system. The storm system is still well west of us, but a lot of the damage was done with this big complex as it moved through the deep south. That's what robbed us of our energy for any severe weather or even really any rain that we had for today. We will continue to see, though, this swing through and bring us more chances for showers as we go through tomorrow morning. The severe weather threat, though, not as great. This is what we have right now as far as our severe weather outlook. I wouldn't be surprised if they maybe push this a little more west, just looking at some of our recent model data that's come out. Storm Prediction Center keeps us in this level 1 threat in our northeastern counties. I'm going to basically say along and east of I-65 will be the area that we need to watch for a stray strong thunderstorm. Tornado threat remains pretty low. It's not zero, but remains low as we go through the afternoon tomorrow. So here's a look as we go through Thursday. These, again, storms here will need monitoring right around 2 o'clock. Our models are starting to come in a little bit better agreement as far as timing goes. So I do think it'll be around noon to about 4 or 5 p.m. before we start to see all of this clear, and we're left with a few pockets of rain. These should be non-severe as we go through Thursday evening into early Friday morning. All rain clears as we head towards Friday morning, and we're left with dry conditions as we head towards the weekend. So one more stormy day to get through here, and then we're in for a pretty nice weekend. Highs topping off close to 80 for Saturday and Sunday, with 80s sticking around through early next week.
Weather Window, presented by the National Weather Desk.
Lots of hail fell on parts of central Texas on Tuesday evening. Some of the stones were as large as baseballs. The severe thunderstorms also brought lightning, wind damage, and heavy rain that caused flooding as the storms moved east into Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama today. Here's more solar eclipse pictures we just saw. This was during totality over snow-capped mountains in northern Maine.
For more content like this, follow the National Weather Desk on Instagram.
And you can see more stories like this every weekday morning on the National Weather Desk. It starts at 8 a.m.
0% APR financing or a $2,000 customer bonus on a new 2024 Tiguan during the Volkswagen 75th anniversary sales event.
This Fox 17 newscast is sponsored by the Nashville Preds.
In sports, the Titans officially kicking off their off-season program this week. They get to start a week before the rest of the league because they have a first-time head coach.
Well, Brian Callahan learning everything he can about his players, including what makes his young quarterback tick. Fox 17 sports director Jill Jelnick has more on the offense.
Just 2 days into the Titans' offseason program, and head coach Brian Callahan is already starting to see his team come together. Players reported to the facility on Monday, and even though it is a voluntary offseason program, Callahan says he's been pleased with the attendance so far and says this week is crucial for him to get to know his players, and that includes his starting quarterback, Will Levis. Levis coming off an impressive rookie year where he had 8 touchdowns in just 9 games in 2023. Coach Callahan saying that even though they're not on the field every day performing, it's been fun to see how Levis's mind works, how he works mentally, and also his dedication to improving his skill set.
Just from what I've seen so far, and again, I'm still learning Will every day that goes on. But he's got an intensity and an intent to every time he walks in the building. I think you see that in his play. When you watch him play, you see that intensity, that fire that he's got. That's not manufactured. That's how he is.
Now that we're kind of into the football, you really see his brain working and his process through it. And he asks great questions. You know, it's only been 2 days and he comes back with the questions in the morning. So he'll come in and, hey, what was this? What were we saying this? Why did this mean? And so that's been really cool just to see kind of now that we're getting into the football part, just mentally and in the classroom, how kind of serious he takes it and
how much it means to him.
Titans use free agency to go out and get Levis a new offensive weapon, signing former Jaguars receiver Calvin Ridley to a 4-year deal worth $92 million. Ridley, on top of DeAndre Hopkins, now gives Levis a couple more weapons to throw to.
It's hard to probably understate the help that provides, where you have two really veteran players that have experience in the NFL. They've done it, and for lack of a better term, and to have experienced players around a young quarterback certainly helps, because they're not necessarily always learning the same lessons together.
As far as the Titans playbook goes, Coach Callahan says that it's, quote, a living document. It's changing day by day as the staff continues to add to it, and he says they want to add everything as much as they can so then they can see what the team is best at. Reporting from the Titans practice facility, Jill Jolnick, Fox 17 Sports, your Code Red station.
Proud of the process that we believed in and the confidence we had in trusting what we do. And we don't always get rewarded for it, but we did tonight.
Obviously, to make playoffs is a huge accomplishment. I think we're proud as a group. Guys worked hard.
Wild card spot.
It is quite an inspiring story. I'm Liz Bonus. Meet a young woman who is changing her path for breast cancer risk. It is just ahead.
After serious accidents. If you've been injured, ask around. I'll bet someone you trust will tell you, get Hughes and Coleman and get it done. Call 800-800-4600.
In your health news tonight, if you have a family history of cancer or another illness, genetic testing can help you determine next steps to reduce your risk.
As Fox 17 medical reporter Liz Bonus shows us tonight, for one woman, that has led to a sense of empowerment.
Hey there, everybody. We have a remarkable story today of a young woman who, when she found out she was at higher risk for breast cancer, decided to take charge of her health in a way that is quite inspiring. When genetic tests showed she was positive for the BRCA1 gene, which put her risk for breast cancer at about 80%, Paula Holbrook had both her breasts removed. She also learned, however,
the BRCA1 also contains a 40% risk for ovarian cancer. So I went and made the decision to remove my fallopian tubes.
Just weeks later, when I talked to Paula here at F45 training in Ohio, where she's a fitness coach,
nice flat back, bracing our core.
It's clear she's already inspiring others to consider taking charge of their health, too.
Just the fact that she's done this testing makes me think, maybe I need to look into this just for my family as well.
Paula now also paving the way for all women to learn more about changing genetic risk for ovarian cancer. She's part of what's called the SOROC trial. In it, researchers are testing whether removal of just the fallopian tubes, with the plan to remove ovaries at a later time, can reduce the risk of ovarian cancer to the same degree as the usual standard of care of removing both ovaries and fallopian tubes at the same time.
It's really a cutting-edge research study to determine what other options are available for these women other than jumping to the most drastic step possible.
Corey Fabello is part of Paula's genetic counseling team.
But we don't always have prevention, but that's the next step in the future of genetics, is how can we prevent all of these different types of cancer and where will the research take us?
The hope is that it will take us to a place Paula says she already feels
empowered. Yeah, so it's one of those things that I get to determine, I guess, my future on my terms and how I undertake this.
This team reminds us that if this is not the path for you, it doesn't mean you don't have other choices. For example, if you talk to a genetic counselor, they could recommend when early screening should start, what medications might be best, if you too are at risk for something that could influence your future. With your health news, I'm Liz Bonus reporting.
We go through the evening tonight. A few showers